In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the ever merciful. Trump, a harbinger of peace or a player of war? This is the topic of today's program. Even before his inauguration on January 20, 2025, US President Donald Trump made headlines across global media with bold claims. He promised that, upon assuming office, he would immediately bring an end to the wars raging in the Middle East and Ukraine. He declared that under his leadership, the world would transition from a state of conflict to a new era of peace. His advisors even began planning to position him as a strong contender for the Nobel Peace Prize based on these lofty claims. And yes, for a few days after taking office, there was a temporary ceasefire in Gaza, just enough for a good photo op. But soon after, the world witnessed unprecedented brutality by Israel in Gaza, which continues unabated to this day, leaving even the so-called civilized world in stunned silence. President Trump's so-called peace plan for Gaza revolves around the forced relocation of over 2 million Palestinians to other regions. Options that have been floated include Ukraine, Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. More recently, even Sudan and Kashmir have been bizarrely suggested. However, the people of Gaza have firmly rejected these proposals. They are resolute in their stance, they will not leave their land. As a result, Israel's aggression in Gaza has intensified, emboldened by implicit and at times explicit support from the US president. Most shockingly, even renowned humanitarian activist Greta Thunberg has reportedly been harassed by Israeli soldiers in recent days for her vocal support of Palestinians. Turning to the Ukraine conflict, Trump tried to play both chess and poker. But in the end, he labeled Russian President Vladimir Putin as crazy and playing with fire. Just days ago, Ukraine launched a series of unprecedented attacks deep inside Russian territory, targeting nuclear and strategic sites hundreds of kilometers beyond the border. What's alarming is this: the sensitive information regarding these sites was only supposed to be shared between the US and Russia under existing treaties. So, how did Ukraine get access to this intelligence? That's the question now under investigation. When the truth comes out, we might see a further dangerous shift in US-Russia relations, perhaps even a tipping point. Russia's foreign minister recently warned that President Trump may not be receiving the full picture regarding the Ukraine war. According to him, there are powerful actors deliberately trying to keep the conflict alive, driving a deeper wedge between the US and Russia and pushing the world dangerously close to World War III. On the legal front, the International Criminal Court, ICC, in a historic move, issued arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister and Defense Minister, holding them accountable for war crimes. Trump, instead of respecting international justice, declared war, first on ICC Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan, and more recently, on the 4 female judges who authored the decision. Ironically, President Trump owes his election victory to financial backing from Elon Musk, the world's richest man. But just days ago, he turned against Musk too, making his life increasingly difficult in America. Trump's trade policies have also wreaked havoc. He has imposed punishing tariffs and taxes on countries with trade ties to the US, China being at the top of that list. It's essentially a global trade war initiated by the White House. Recently, Trump attempted to take credit for ending a 4-day conflict between India and Pakistan. However, India has so far refused to recognize any such role. Now, from June 13 to 15, Pakistan's Field Marshal has been invited to visit the US officially. It's called a diplomatic outreach, but behind the scenes, the real aim appears to be driving a wedge between China and Pakistan, to undermine China's influence in Asia. Domestically, things are no better. In California, Trump deployed federal troops, without consulting the state's governor, to suppress protests against his immigration policies. Instead of restoring order, the situation has only deteriorated further. So, dear viewers, these are just a few highlights, presented briefly for your consideration. Now, ask yourself honestly, based on President Trump's behavior and methods of handling conflicts, does it seem like he is truly a man of peace? Or is he dragging the world toward the brink of a catastrophic global war? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.